Hey guys, it's Jurassic Prince. Happy holidays. I hope you guys are doing well. I hope you guys are safe out there, especially during these tough times this year. Um, but today I'll be interviewing Colby Boothman, who played Leon the Raptor Handler in Jurassic World. And there might be a part two of this video since it might be a long interview. But that's okay. I can't wait to hear from him. And I'm sure you guys can't wait either. So let's get to it, shall we? Hey, how's it going, Colby?
Hey, what's up, man?
Just chilling, man. How you been?
Pretty good. Just a bit of a late start to my day, eating some food.
Yeah, what'd you have for lunch?
Oh, I had what did I have? Hash browns, two eggs, cinnamon rolls, some toast. My buddies just made a bunch of just melt in your mouth, unbelievably, just stupid good cinnamon rolls. So
Dude, that sounds pretty good, actually. It really does sound pretty good. Now it makes me want to go to like a Cinnabon and get a roll.
makes you want to go to a cinnamon bun. What is that? I think we have one of those on Jurassic World. I can't remember if we have.
uh, you might have. I know you had
They have them in Universal. I don't know if we had them in Jurassic World.
maybe. I know you had
I'll have
like
to
a
go back and look.
yeah,
We had a Jamba Juice. We had a Starbucks.
yeah, and then you had what was it? There was something else that you had in Jurassic World. Margaritaville.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's
And-
two-story Margaritaville is massive to put people. We can get to that later.
Absolutely. But I want to thank you for taking the time to talk to me, man. It's I really appreciate it, and I mean it means a lot to me, especially for anyone that does this. It's to me it's a big deal, and just once again thank you so much
Of
for
course, thanks for
doing
having me.
this.
It's always fun to see to learn about what it is that draws people to Jurassic and the whole franchise and to filmmaking and movies and um, just to learn people's perspectives and how the films are something personal to them.
Right,
And
right.
that to me is so interesting. And like growing up, I was a fan of Jurassic Park
Yes.
and the franchise, and so to be a part of it is just
I mean
still
the
shocking. I don't think I'll ever get over that.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, for anyone that's worked on any of the Jurassic Park movies, I think it's like to me it's like winning a lottery ticket for you to like have the privilege to work on a Jurassic movie. And I mean I'll be shocked too. I will still be shocked if I were to like work on a Jurassic movie. So that's pretty cool for you to work on Jurassic World. But yeah, so tell me everything about your time working on Jurassic World.
Everything. Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
I know. Well,
we're gonna be here for a while.
oh
Um,
really?
it was it was fun. I had just watched the original Jurassic Park again with my dad,
Hmm.
and the day after we watched it, uh, my agent sends me an email with an audition for Jurassic World.
Wow.
And it's like, okay, hey, here you go. Just put this on tape whenever you get a moment.
Hmm.
And it was all under the working title at that time. So most
Hmm.
people didn't know they were even auditioning for Jurassic World when they did because everything worked under the working title,
Hmm.
and all the sides were dummy sides. And they're not sending out actual script from Jurassic. So there were basically parallels to whatever character you were doing, and that's how the audition sides were sent out. I had the fortune of knowing at least ahead of time what it was that I was actually auditioning for. So you get a bit of I'd say, a leg up on other people just having that knowledge, and those are the type of things where it's important to have a good team around you and good agents and PR, just
Gotcha.
to be aware of what it is that you're doing and for them to be able to have that relationship with casting and producers. Um, so I was fortunate enough to get the audition, which was for a character in the Dumb and Sides named Luke, which was humorous to me, just for all the other franchise Lukes that are out there.
Yeah.
Um, and it was a cattle scene where there's like some cows in a pen, and we're just kind of trying to round up some cattle, and I accidentally hop off the ledge of the fence, and a cow comes chasing towards me, and uh, that's
Interesting.
that was kind of what the reaction shot that they wanted in the dummy sides. Um, and so they had parallels to Chris Pratt's character,
Mm-hmm.
parallel to my character, and obviously we weren't there to visualize cows. It was really some dinosaur of some kind. So I
Raptors.
knew that. I was like,
Yeah.
it's probably not going to be cows. Um, and they ended up being raptors, as I would find out a few months later. Um, so I had 3 auditions to tape that day.
Oh
It's
wow.
just kind of like, okay, cool, knock it out, go to the next one.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you just kind of do the best that you can. I did a little bit of homework for me when I did my audition, and ultimately the way that I um, played my character was based on Lex and Tim.
Mm-hmm.
So I drew a lot of inspiration from the kids. So for me, whenever I'm playing a character, particularly something from an established fan base, it's really important for me to do my homework, not just on what the directors want, producers, and script, um, but what is it that the fan base wants to see? What is it that is nostalgic for them, that they want to have in films, and how can I help with whatever I can bring to the table, bring the vision that the audience wants to the screen. Um, and that, whenever I work on something that's an established property, is very important to me. So even just in the audition, that was something that I brought, was that almost one of the things that I like about Ariana Richards and her portrayal of Lexus, like this super innocent, but anything that could go wrong does go wrong. And that's very
Right.
much how I played Leon, the Raptor Handler. Is I want to bring that just innocent in the wrong place at the wrong time
Yeah.
uh, type of character to life, and hopefully that it at least is noticeable to the audience. Or, that's kind of why we do a lot of the things that we do. Um, but it's fun. I had a lot of fun creating that character and the backstory for it. It's there's not a whole lot of writing on the page for the character, so a lot of it, we as an actor, it's our job to write from page one backwards. We have to
Yeah.
develop our backstories, and I've written multiple pages and pages of backstory just for my character.
Yeah.
That's how you help bring something unique to life that's not so much yourself.
Okay.
And I just kind of had this backstory that I just wrote out, where you just say, oh, these are, I grew up on Grandma and Grandpa's farm, and the
Mm-hmm.
middle of the sticks in Rhode Island, and was an intern at the Roger Williams Park Zoo, and dealt with the penguins and koalas and all these like nice, innocent, harmless, friendly creatures. Because I feel like that would be like, that's what this guy wants to do. He
Mm-hmm.
wants to grow up, and he wants to work at Jurassic World so he can take care of baby Triceratops and all the little cute animals. And that that wasn't a job that was available, so he kind of just took what he could.
Yeah. Just
So,
desperate just to get into Jurassic World. He's like the
yeah, just trying to get his foot in the door there. Something to
mhm.
do with some pigs. Okay, that can't be too terribly difficult.
Yeah. And then all hell breaks loose, kind of.
Yeah.
What was the so how many days do you work on set, if you
Oh
remember?
god. I think ultimately ended up being like 2.5, 3 weeks actual time on set. We
Okay.
um, we had a few days of simply production days where we didn't do any filming. When I first went into New Orleans the first time, they picked me up at the airport, brought me straight to the NASA's assembly facility
Hmm.
just outside of New Orleans, because we had to do um, fingerprints, palm print, like full hand um, prints, background checks. We had to get federal IDs to be able to be on set because we were filming in a federal facility.
Yeah.
So security was a very big deal. It's a big deal to the film, and then it's also a big deal because of the location that we were using to
Yeah.
film on. So the first thing that I had to do was go and get cleared to be able to work on in the facilities that we were at.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Once that all got approved, and I had wardrobe fittings, and um, those were all in offices that they set up at the NASA facility. And
Okay.
that's just a whole day in itself, going through trying on different outfits. Photos get sent back and forth to Colin and producers, and um, just trying to figure out what kind of outfits there are, what they want to do with my hair. Um, Ultimately, we ended up with the full jean button down and pants and beanie, which was a unique, memorable outfit. So it was something different. I liked it. It had a little bit of throwback to the original Jurassic Park, where those the early '90s and
Mm-hmm.
jean jackets and things like that were still a thing. So I don't know what influence that had on the costumers and the outfits that they ultimately picked. But I thought it was a pretty interesting outfit. It's not something I would normally wear, which is good because it brought something different to the character. It's not like just a kid in a t-shirt and basic button down or a work shirt.
Yeah.
It was different. It wasn't a Jurassic World uniform. It wasn't like one of the park rangers or anything. It was something different.
Maybe they were trying to like bring back some kind of like a throwback to the original because of that style back then,
Mm-hmm.
in the 90s. Because they especially when the two boys went to the old visitor center, you saw some like throwbacks. So maybe it was part of that, throwback moment in Jurassic World. So it's probably because of that. And
Yeah,
but I like it, and it's pretty cool. I've
yeah,
always
and
I've always liked the 90s style.
it's cool to see, especially when it gets replicated as a like the Lego for the Lego Jurassic World game.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
super cool to be able to see that's my character as a Lego. Like that will forever be one of the coolest things ever, is to peel a little Lego character and just running around in the video game. It's cool to be able to play as my character. Um, it's just not something I would ever thought would happen. Even with like the things that I've done, Star Wars Battlefront. There,
Yeah.
I'm playing Mark Hamill. Like I'm not playing myself, so it's cool to see my character in a video game.
Yeah, that is pretty cool. We're gonna get to that actually, because I do love Star Wars, and Star Wars is that's my second favorite movie series behind Jurassic Park. But we'll get to that. I do love Star Wars, and your scenes were shot in New Orleans, right? You said it
Mm-hmm.
was all in New Orleans.
Yep, that was, and it was pretty fantastic to see what they did for the Raptor paddock, because they built this massive set for it. It's gigantic. You kind of have to use golf carts to get around half the time because everything is so spread out and so big. Um, but they, and I've said this in quite a few interviews, but it's a detail that kind of goes lost on a lot of people until you realize the amount of effort that goes into it. The palm trees, those are all coconut palms, which are not native to Louisiana, and they're these massive 50 to 100-foot tall palm trees, and they're everywhere. So they had to ship in, and I don't know how, a ton of coconut palms just to make it feel more tropical, like Hawaii, Costa Rica,
Yeah,
kind
like
of a feel
Nublar.
to it. Yeah, and that to see that in person is just something that I think a lot of people just don't even realize. Like, I don't even know how they would transport all those. Would they have to get them up to the river, drive them down the highway? Like, they're huge. So, that massive appreciation to all the effort that goes into the minute details of them, because there are palm trees in Louisiana, but those were not the specific palm trees that you would have in Hawaii. So, uh, it's cool to see those level of details. The details when you walk around the set that never get seen. The little info like safety things that are like plastered to the side of a door, like the InGen caution signs, the people walking around with clipboards, and all of the InGen like safety check marks and stuff like that that they put on just props. There's so much detail in the props and the signage and the set decoration that if you're not there, they're kind of forever lost. They never get really photographed. They're never really in behind the scenes. If they're not shown on camera, people don't ever see them. And those are the things that really help add to the atmosphere of being on set.
That's pretty cool, man. Seeing all these like different like what you call it props, and then you said the trees and all that. I just think, the was it the art department or the what's the production designer? I think that the entire team did a hell of a job. Make the sets look authentic, like they're in Isla Nublar or in New Orleans, and so it just feels like you're part of a playground when you see these physical sets. And
playground, it's a theme park.
or a theme park, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm saying in general, with any movie sets, it feels like you're part of a playground, because I appreciate more physical sets than like just sets with like green screens,
Yeah.
And so I think it's cool to see like a set that looks like, I guess, yeah, you're right, a theme park. And I know they shot some scenes over at the abandoned Six Flags, right?
Yeah, so that's where they did the Main Street set.
Yeah.
They did not use the Six Flags at all. What they just used was the parking lot, because it's the largest flat paved space in the whole region. So it's just this massive, absolutely huge, just acres and acres of parking space. And so that's where they built up the Main Street set, which in and of itself, I don't know how big it was. I'm sure it was multiple acres. It was huge. It was one of the coolest things I've ever seen. And I got to see that when we were doing our, we had first and second unit going one of the days that we had the helicopter.
Yeah.
And when you're working with helicopters, there's like I think 3 pilots in the world. So there aren't very many people that can do this. So the availability of these pilots and helicopter time, even on such a big film like Jurassic World, is still very short and small, because they have to schedule everything out, and you have a very limited time with it. So to be most efficient, we had we were working on the Jurassic, kind of like the Main Street set, and then we were also working at the Raptor paddock. So they had us over at the Raptor paddock, and when they were doing turning around cameras and doing setup shots over on Main Street, they send a helicopter to us, and that's where we would do the aerials.
Okay.
And just, I wish I could show a camera of just my POV of watching the helicopter fly around, because you have this helicopter just like swoops in and just like turns and like slowly starts back, like going backwards, and phenomenal pilot skills. I mean, it's an air show just watching these like aerial cinematographers at work. So that was really cool, and that's the shot after the end of the Raptor scene. Like once I get saved and everybody's kind of just going their separate ways, and it's just like just another day in Jurassic World. I'm just like standing up and brushing off, kind of limping away, and the helicopter kind of goes back, and that's where like we see the aerial of the Raptor paddock.
That's a pretty good shot.
Yeah,
I kind of thought that they would use a
shot.
drone with that, but they use a helicopter.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I mean, maybe the drones these days would be able to carry the weight of the equipment, but spare no expense when it comes to these productions. So the cameras that we used, particularly on the wide shots, was all the 70mm IMAX cameras.
Ooh.
And we used the 35mm IMAX cameras for anything up close. Almost every shot that we did, every single take that I worked on, that I can recall was filmed using the Techno 50. So
Oh.
the 50-foot Techno cranes. Everything was a crane shot, every single take. Um, and they'll take down walls just to make sure that they can fit in, inside the little caged part of the raptor paddock.
Mm-hmm.
They'll take down the bars, um, a wall on that just so that they can fit their crane through.
Mm-hmm.
So even in these tight shots, they're still using the crane,
Gotcha.
which is just it's so cool to watch. And half the time, you're spending half your time in a character, like really absorbed in a role,
Mm-hmm.
and it can be difficult at times because it's so mesmerizing to you want to actually watch the making of this film, but you're there to do a job, and sometimes it's hard because you want to watch the things that you're filming. Um, it's almost a bit like similarly, it's the same experience that I have on some of my DJ sets. Like I want to watch my DJ sets like from the point of view of the crowd and listen to the music that I'm putting out in those massive, awesome speakers, and I can't because I'm the one behind the decks listening on my headphones.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things about artists that can be frustrating. It's like you want to experience the things you're doing from the point of view of an audience sometimes, but you can't. I wouldn't trade it for anything. It's cool to be able to see these things firsthand. Um, and the amount of effort that goes into every shot in Jurassic World is insane. I think if you were to break it down, just cost-wise,
Oh my
the
God.
amount of pressure you have
Yeah.
per take it'd be overwhelming if you actually think about it, because it works out to be like $150,000 per minute of filming or
Shit,
something.
dude.
And so, like, if you mess up a take, it's like, that costs 300 grand. So you don't even want to think about those things because the pressure could get to some people.
That's what I'm saying. It's a lot of pressure. I couldn't imagine Kobe.
I mean, you try not to think about it.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, you're there to do the best job that you possibly can.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where you collaborate with the people that you're working with. And it didn't feel, as much as it feels like a big, massive production,
Mm-hmm.
the people that we're working with, Colin and Omar and Chris, Vincent, it's very much a collaborative process. And I've worked on some movies where everything's micromanaged and dictated. And as well thought out as everything Jurassic World is, there are a lot of
Mm-hmm.
organic moments and things where, like, you'll just be filming and you're trying to figure out what's the best way to approach the scene that you're doing right now.
Mm-hmm.
And you can just have those conversations with, like Omar, when he's the one who takes me out of the raptor paddock
Yeah.
and pulls me back, and it's like, you just have that conversation where it's like, okay, I'm just going to go limp if you're cool with that, and
Mm-hmm.
leave it to you to drag me out and pull me aside, like, physically. Um, you don't fake these things, and it's great to be able to work with artists that understand that. And it's like, yeah, that's what it takes to make this shot feel real, where it's not like, when somebody is faking, um, physical activity, and a lot of times in filmmaking, it's our job to put the effort in. And it's great to be able to work with people that are not afraid to do that. That, like, Omar's okay with that. It's like, yeah, it's going to be work. We got to do this scene quite a few times, and you got to drag me across the ground no matter what. My hands are all a bloody mess from the mulch on the floor, and
Mm-hmm.
it's sometimes it's kind of rough making films, but it's so much fun.
Yeah, and it's worth it.
Yeah.
It's hard, but it's worth it because at the end of the day, you did what you can, and you see the I guess the final results, the
Mhm.
final cut,
Yeah.
and
just seeing your face on the big screen, I'm sure it's very honorable and very what's the word? Rewarding, you know.
Yeah, it is. And it's less for me. It's not so much about like seeing myself on the screen. That's still weird and awkward to me, and
Oh yeah.
still don't know how I feel about it. Um, but it's what's cool to me is taking visions and bringing them to life.
Hmm.
That's the experience that means a lot to me. That's what I have fun with. Working with all the people that are the paramount of their craft, whether they're audio engineers, set decorators, costumers. Every person is the very best at what they do, and that is super exciting to be there and to be able to learn from everyone there. Watching the ILM, or the Industrial Lights Magic, which is um,
Yeah.
the visuals division of Lucasfilm.
Hmm.
They're the ones that do all
Oh, the CGI.
the visuals and CGI for Jurassic franchise, and basically every big movie out there, frankly.
Oh yeah.
But we had like 50 ILM guys on set one day. It was like, dude,
50.
like the amount of people that are there to make sure that every little thing is perfect was astounding. Not that that's an everyday thing to have that many people around,
Yeah.
but it's crazy how much effort goes into things. Watching them do their everything that they do, take measurements of everything, reference photos of everything, so that they have anything that they need to when they go to actually do the CGI and the editing. It's like, and make sure they have every single detail that they need to make it perfect.
It takes a lot of people just to make a movie.
Yeah,
Just
yeah. I mean, just watch the
imagine,
credits.
yeah, the credits, especially if you're watching like a Marvel movie and you had to wait like what nearly 10 minutes just to see the post credit scene for the
Mm-hmm.
next movie or a spinoff. It's crazy, and I mean it's a lot of work just to make like it's like 12 hours, 16 hours just to make a 5 minute scene, but but
Yeah,
yeah,
it's. I mean, more than that. So, I mean, I'm in the film for roughly like 5 minutes. I haven't actually counted it out how long I'm actually in the film. There are two separate scenes, one during the day where I film the raptor paddock, and at night where I kind of release the raptors.
hmm,
Um, and that's, I think, of actual filming. That was 10 days of filming.
okay, so
Um,
week and a half about,
that's, yeah, it works out to be two weeks of actual filming, because we, Monday to Friday.
yeah.
Um, so we have 5 days during the week that we actually film. Um, and then before we did the filming, we had all the production days where we had rehearsals and whatnot.
Hmm.
But that 5 minutes of footage that I'm in is 2 weeks of work.
Yeah,
Or
it's
that's
it,
a long time to be able to get that little footage. But
yeah.
every shot has to be set up, and every take has to be perfect.
Exactly. I mean, you want to take your time, making these movies because I work in the industry. I know what's it like, working on set, and I get it, and I appreciate that people take their time to make these movies. Like when Jurassic World Dominion, it was supposed to come out next year, right, in 2021, but it's not coming out until 2022. But that shows that it gives them more time to make it the best as possible, which I can't wait, and oh, I'm super excited to see Dominion. So I appreciate Colin and all the rest of the cast and crew to really take their time to make the best out of it. And so I totally get why it takes forever just to make a 5 or 10 minute scene. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot of work. And before Jurassic World, kind of the biggest thing that Colin had done was Safety Not Guaranteed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, and it's an indie movie.
Mm-hmm.
I would say that film though is definitely something that caught the eye of the major studios. In filmmaking, it's generally you can either be fast, good, or cheap, and it's pick two.
Mm-hmm.
And when you can make a film like Safety Not Guaranteed, that was filmed quickly,
Oh
was a
yeah.
good film, and was filmed cheaply, you're you're really going to catch the eye of the industry, and that's they put a lot of faith in Colin in Jurassic World, and they definitely picked the right person. Um, Him and his writing partner Derek Connolly, I think they wrote great script.
Oh yeah.
They were. I know Steven Spielberg had been doing, just trying to trudge along and create Jurassic World for like 10 years prior, and didn't have a whole lot of success, and had gone through multiple iterations of the script. They brought Colin in, and they already had a script for him, and I think he had basically said, I can do it.
Yeah.
I'll take a crack at writing this. And they were like, this has taken us 10 years, but if you can do a better job, go for it.
Hmm.
And then he did.
Yeah, he proved it. Him
Yeah.
and Derek, and yeah, I mean, yeah, that the fourth movie was through development hell. 14 years, and finally we get a fourth Jurassic Park movie, and so I'm glad that Spielberg picked the right guy to write and direct the movie. So
Yeah. And I'm definitely excited to see what Colin does in the future, because he's a very, he has a complete vision for the project, but he's also a collaborative
oh yeah.
director. He does a very good job of directing actors, and that's what a director is supposed to do.
Hmm.
Uh, just discussing the shot where I kind of look over my shoulder and Echo's just like looking at me like I'm a snack through the bars of the raptor paddock. That shot, it's just like a quick discussion with Colin, like what would be going through my mind. And he just like kind of kneels down and said, so like, what do you think you would be feeling in this moment? Um, and I basically just said like nothing. I would just be completely numb to the situation, and my mind in a million places, not knowing where to go next. Um, and he was like, "Good, let's shoot it." and that's what we shot. And it was fantastic to see how just that his vision can be translated in a way that allows actors to find the intent of their writing. Um, and he does an excellent job of being able to help actors find what is best to be filmed very quickly too. Um, and I, obviously love to work with him again, and recommend anybody check out his work now until the rest of forever.
Right. In the scene when you trying to grab the pick and you fell off, did you actually fell off the the bridge, or was that a stunt double?
So that was we have the catwalk up above, and it's about 35 feet off the ground. It's
Hmm.
a little ways up there. That was done by my stunt double for the film, Patrick
Gotcha.
Steinberg. And I've mentioned this a few times, but it's very difficult to get good stunt doubles.
Oh yeah.
Um, I've had some bad experiences in the past, and Patrick is a phenomenal stunt person and a great person. I spent a lot of time with him on set, and while we were filming, like we just go out and like grab dinner. Some of the nights that we're shooting, go and get sushi in the French Quarter, and
Hmm.
had a lot of fun. But he beyond just being like a great person to hang out with, um, he's a fantastic performer. He understands that the job of a stunt performer is to become the character as much as any of us as the actors.
Hmm.
They are representatives of the character and also the actor and our performance. And so he understands taking on the role as a performer and understanding the movements, and the traits that are inherent to each unique character. And so he was somebody that I was great to be able to have those conversations with, to maybe show some of the awkwardness of the character, and
Right.
um, as simple as it seems, just taking a fall up, which also is a very dangerous stunt. And so he did a terrific job at the high falls. He's able to understand like the motions of the character,
Hmm.
and I was super fortunate to be able to have him as stunt double, and we'll use him as frequently as directors and producers will allow me to choose a stunt double in the future.
Okay. How many takes did they do for that fall?
I'm not sure. It was a good number. Um, I think we probably shot that for a few hours.
That
Setup
fall?
is setup is a bit difficult for something like that, and they had
Hmm.
rehearsed it a while, so they had days of rehearsal,
Oh.
um, where just Patrick and the stunt coordinator would just hop up on a forklift and do a fall onto the mats, which are these like 3 foot high mats that they had stacked up. No, I can't recall exactly how tall they were, but yeah, it's anytime you're doing high falls, it's definitely a dangerous stunt, and so hats off to all the stunt people that do them. They don't get enough credit. I definitely believe that um, the Academy Awards should be recognizing stunt people for the work that they do,
I
particularly
agree.
when we have films like Mad Max,
Yeah.
uh, which was a stunt film.
Hmm.
That was start to finish, almost entirely stunts. That's what made the movie. It won tons of Oscars,
Hmm.
and yet what made the movie such a success has no category to recognize the work that they do. Um, and so I definitely think for viewers, listeners, definitely it's something to respect as the stunt people that do this, because they're literally putting their lives on the line to get these shots.
Yeah, and they're putting their lives in danger just to do these like crazy stuff. It's like being like some kind of like daredevil,
Yeah,
and
and it's calculated. It's definitely different from being a daredevil. Daredevils is you take risks for people's thrill, and stunts it is extraordinarily calculated, and
hmm
you try to do everything as perfectly and as safely as you can, if you
hmm
can. And you generally, if something's too dangerous, you try not to do those things.
yeah,
And accidents, they do happen. We all lost one of our good friends in some community, John Bernicker on The Walking Dead, and that
yeah.
was due to a high fall. And it's unfortunate. And these accidents, a lot of the times, they can be avoided.
Hmm.
Um, Things do happen, but I think that there should be greater mitigation, and there really should be recognition
Right.
um, for these people that are literally putting their lives on the line to make
Hmm.
these movies.
Yeah. I mean, I agree 100%. They deserve more credit, and there needs to be some kind of like award for that. And it doesn't have to be Oscars, but it could be like some kind of like even like a
There are some, um, like the Screen Actors Guild does have best stunt ensemble and things like that,
okay.
which Patrick was nominated for. He actually received nomination for the Screen Actors Guild Award for best stunt ensemble as part of Jurassic World. So
Right.
there is some recognition, but there really should be more. The Oscars is the biggest award ceremony, hands down,
Oh yeah.
and if that's where it should be awarded. That is the film awards. So
I'm sure that we'll see something like that in the future. I know they just what was I forgot what it was, but they were doing some changes to the Oscars in the next few years or something like that.
yeah,
Um
I hope so. They've been making you know some changes, and I know it's not easy in this industry
mhm.
to make things happen, especially to make things happen quick. But hopefully they'll get the recognition that they deserve, as well as many of the other talented artists that don't necessarily receive the recognition they deserve in filmmaking.
Right. Tell me a good like set story. Like, do you have like a favorite moment of you working on set?
Um, there are a lot of pretty amazing moments. Everything from just walking around the Main Street set.
Hmm.
That I'd say is definitely one of the highlights. Um, to visit the Jurassic World set is that Main Street set is crazy. It's like
Hmm.
being in Universal, except everything's dinosaurs.
Yeah.
Everything's for the most part working. Like, I know one of the first set photos most people didn't notice was actually a set photo. It was released by Frank Marshall,
The
who's
producer.
the producer.
Yeah.
He posted a photo in the Starbucks, and the only way that you would have known that it was the Jurassic World Starbucks is because it had the Jurassic World Starbucks logo. Like
Hmm.
they Jurassicized the the Starbucks logo for the cups in the film.
Oh, cool.
Another detail that gets completely lost, and he's just like getting a coffee from the working Starbucks on set. Um, that I think was one of the first photos that got released, and that is definitely a favorite of mine. Frank is an awesome guy too.
Yeah.
He's an awesome DJ. He was the DJ of the rap party.
Hmm.
He goes by DJ Master Frank, which is also a playable character in the Lego Jurassic World video game.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, Frank Marshall, he's a hell of a producer. He's always worked with Spielberg and his wife, Kathleen Kennedy. Um, and this entire, cast and crew is loaded with talent, and
Yeah.
even, at the, the premiere in LA, it seemed like everyone was there. Tell me about that too, about your time, at the premiere in Hollywood.